Hey everybody, quick vlog on the Raiders game against the Bills, where they hosted the Bills at Allegiant Stadium today and lost 30-23. Let's go over the statistics real quick. I'm not using StreamYard this time. I'm just gonna rattle off what I read and due to the lateness of the hour, but I wanted to really get some comments in on this. And then one other matter before I go shuffle off, and basically, the game went like this from a statistical standpoint. Uh, First of all, hats off to Josh Allen. 24-34, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. On top of that, he he only rushed 3 times for -1 yard, but his passing was the star of the show. And his mobility, also his offensive coordinators developing a brilliant game plan that hid receivers and crossing patterns and variations of the popular drive and then up pattern that features either a tight end or a slot back going across the formation and then going up and then running an up pattern toward the sideline to score. That has been really hey ML, how you doing? That has been really an effective weapon for a number of teams, including the Raiders. But the difference between the way the Raiders did it and the Bills did it was interesting. The Raiders, when they used the play against the Patriots, did it from a standard drop back, 5-step drop. But the Bills, they used play action. And the effectiveness of play action really made that pass pattern work really well. Why? Because in the case of the Raiders, Carr dropped back, but he had to wait and then determine when it was right to throw the pattern to Hunter Renfrow. It wasn't perfectly timed. By contrast, Josh Allen play action faked, dropped back an additional 4 yards, which brought him separation from himself and the on-rushing pass rushers. And once he hit his 4-yard drop back point after the fake, immediately launched the pass on time for a touchdown. If you look at the film, you'll see the receiver breaking away from the defenders, which were held up because they're reacting to the run fake. It made that pattern work much better. If the Raiders had adopted it against the Patriots, it worked once, but they could have done it again and again and again, right? So it was very effective. Plays like that really set the tone for the game. On top of that, let's get this out of the way. The Raiders are banged up, and hats off to Mike Mayock, particularly on offense, for putting together a wide receiving core that could start for any team in the league, arguably. Zay Jones, Hunter Renfrow, Nelson Aguilar, sprinkled in with Darren Waller, who had a subpar game. I think that Waller was put in positions that he wasn't comfortable with. And then, of course, Jason Witten, who made his debut, if you will. So what happened? Well, what overall happened was that the Buffalo Bills were a more effectively coached team. And the Raiders, in this case, were outcoached. Defensively, they were not playing bump and run. I was watching this with a group of friends via Zoom, and one of them is actually played for the Raiders and then coached defensive backs. And we're noticing little things that the Bills should have done and reinforce some ideas that I had, like in particular playing the bump and run, which the Raiders did not do. So one may argue that the Raiders didn't feel like they had the horses to do it in terms of their starting defenders because of injuries. Whatever the case, the counter is that, well, aren't you getting backups that you think can also play bump and run? If you want to, okay? So don't have the clear answer there without having talked to the coaching staff, but it is an issue. Is this the beginning of the end for the Raiders in terms of the idea that the Raiders would go to the playoffs and really emerge as a Super Bowl contender? Because let's face it, over the first two games, I was ready to make a video saying these guys are going to the Super Bowl. And I just held my powder because of this situation that we're in and how from one week to another, you don't know if a team is going to play a particular time or have its slot moved because of the coronavirus, right? Pretty scary stuff. So I just held my powder, but it's quite clear that the Seahawks are the class of league. They're 4-0, as are the Green Bay Packers, which take on the Falcons tomorrow, Monday night, tonight, really, as are we have to really give a hat tip to what has been done with such teams that you didn't quite expect to be there. And look, the Bucks I thought were going to reel, and then they came back against the team that arguably in retrospect they should have beaten, and they did beat well, and that was the Chargers. But the Chargers were up on them by a bunch. Okay, so and then of course there's the Chiefs, right? Will the Chiefs meet their match in the Patriots tonight? Time will tell. But these teams, in particular the Patriots, the Chiefs, and the Seahawks, most notably the Chiefs and the Seahawks, are the class of the league right now. I thought the Raiders were going to be there, but right now they're not. And that's a disappointment. But where do they go from here? Let's go back and take a look at the stats real quick and gain some idea of what's going on with the silver and black. And the Raiders, Derek Carr was 34-44, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs was 15 of 48 yards with 3.2. Right there, he was a leading rusher. But listen to these. 6.5 yard average was Theo Riddick. That's, wide receiver plays. And then Derek Carr had four carries for 20 yards and a 5 yard average. But Josh Jacobs, just 15 carries for 3.2. He should touch the ball 20 times a game. And in terms of receiving, Josh Jacobs was only thrown to 3 times. He should see the ball at least 9 times, or I would say a range between 6 times and 9 times a game. But the distribution was really excellent. The Raiders have a lot of excellent receivers, both in a number of different positions. So overall, offensively, the Raiders are in good shape. But defensively is obviously where the weaknesses come in. You've got to give the offense, which can move the ball, more turns at bat. And that's where your defense has to be more effective. And you would say, how would one do that with injuries? And I say they really have to go aggressive. Against the Patriots, they were sending cornerbacks one way and the other. Their problems aren't so much talent, it's scheme. And too often they play schemes that are not as aggressive as they should be. So if this continues, we could be looking at something like another 6-12 season, but it's beginning to shape up like it could come out to be that kind of situation. I hate to say it, but that's what it looks like to me right now. And again, I stress this. I really hope I'm wrong, but once again, I can't see at all where that's not the case. Okay. These next few weeks are going to be quite telling. Remember, they have not even faced the Chiefs yet. Not at all. And then the Buccaneers come to town, I believe, on the 21st of September. So, what am I saying, 21st of September? That was the original schedule. The Buccaneers come to town, I believe, on the 21st of October. So, there's a lot of water under the bridge. But if the Raiders rediscover their running game, and something else too, no huddle. They need to do that more consistently than the Raiders do. When the Raiders are behind, they need to shorten the game with no huddle and have a more effective no package of calls so that they don't need to huddle up. That can shorten the time that way. Anyway, I'll be back with more. Subscribe to Zinnia62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. That concludes this stream. Good night.